We have to adjust it later on with the microphone. Thank you very much for the moderation. My name is Markus Fuchs at PayPal. I'm responsible for our partnerships in the umbrella region. And I've been working for PayPal for the last 10 years at in different areas, and I'm very happy to be at the community day today and able to present you some of the solutions, because I'm on the solution stage with less vision, with less artificial intelligence and voice commerce involved, everything which will come in the future. But I will show you what we use already today, how we drive conversion, how we see to it that the purchasing action is not interrupted in the moment you want to pay, because otherwise the dealer will have a problem. And we are the payment provider, and we are responsible for the smooth running of the payment transaction. And this is why I would like to show you some of the solutions, which are not that normal and regular, but a little bit more extraordinary. And I will show you what we do in order to see to it that the customers really carry out the end-to-end purchasing action. Well, I will try to give you some insights concerning market research, proprietary assessments, and proprietary projects. And today I would like to present you a chart on the evaluation of different types of payment. And we'll talk about PayPal, how we see ourselves as a twofold payment player. Some statistics at the beginning. This is coming from the ECC study, which is organized every year, this year for the 22nd time. It is about the purchasing behavior from a consumer and from a dealer side. Can you understand me? Yes? It is okay? Fine. What I would like to show you is the assessment of payment behavior from a consumer and from a dealer's perspective. There are major differences, of course, that is quite obvious. The best example at the very beginning, quite typical for Germany, the invoice is the payment media which is really favored by the consumers, ranking #1, more than 90% of positive votes on the consumer side. On the dealer side, this is not the same. There, the invoice is ranking #6 with 63%. So it is not even a question of the invoice being produced by the dealer himself, but perhaps also by the payment provider. But this shows the discrepancy. The consumer would like to pay on the basis of an invoice. For the dealer, it is much less comfortable. Last year, it was very obvious to see that the last in the ranking was advance payment on the consumer side, of course. For the dealer side, of course, it is different because the dealers love that. And at least that was shown last year. This year, that hasn't been part of the assessment. But it is normal for a dealer. When you have received the money, you can then send out and ship the relevant good, and that is very comfortable for the consumer. That is not nice, using a PIN-10 process or whatever. And perhaps the purchasing action is not going to be completed for any reason that you might not understand. And of course, once you have organized the money transfer, the money has gone, and you don't know as a consumer whether you will have something in exchange. You would then have to take action on a personal level. For example, if the goods that you receive do not correspond with your expectations. We, as PayPal, have tried to organize some kind of network. For us, it is important to have a good balance between the consumers and the dealers, so that there is a good compensation concerning all these concerns with regard to security. We started as a daughter of eBay in the German market. That was in 2004. And we had a lot of traffic on eBay, and we were in a quite comfortable situation. We had a lot new consumers for PayPal. So we actually tried to focus on getting PayPal also in a comfortable position with regard to other dealers. And if you look at the last 10 years, then we have done a good job. The 1,000 dealers that we have in e-commerce, which are part of a published list, use for 90% PayPal. So when we think about further growth, then this is not on the dealer side, because we are in fact present at each and every dealer. But for the consumers, it is different. On a worldwide level, 237 million, roughly 2 million users. And in Germany, we have active consumers, and that means that they have carried out a transaction, at least one, during the last 12 months. But there is still a lot of two. We have 60 million internet users in Germany, 20 million active users of PayPal in Germany. So this could be a lever that we could use even further for getting new PayPal customers. Last year, we managed to increase the number of transactions per account, amounting to 35%. That is a huge increase. It shows that on the one hand we generate new customers all the time, but we also increase the number of transactions, and that every transaction account is used at least 3 times per month. This is our aim. On the one hand side, we want to generate new users, and on the other hand, the users that we have, we want them to use our account much more often, so that later on we have a better conversion. There is one study which is not integrated here. It is a commerce cost study from the USA. It is about the checkout behavior on a global level. And the result is a very interesting figure that we can use, because it has been confirmed, is that the checkout with PayPal, when you use PayPal, then you have a conversion rate of 89%. That is, out of 900 consumers paying with PayPal will stay your consumer at a rate of 89%. For others, this is only 50%, though that means that PayPal has already defined a benchmark with a conversion rate of 89%. And I will now tell you why this is so. But it shows that this twofold network and the measures that we take in order to get a good balance aims at this target, to have a better conversion rate. We have had a look at the different customer requirements and have thought about what we can do in order to satisfy these consumer requirements and driving transactions. At the beginning, that was quite easy. That was the claim that we used at the beginning. We are still using it. That is security. In the e-commerce, that is a buzzword. And with a view to the statistics we have just seen, we really try to bundle all these different aspects. We try to provide security to the purchaser and to the dealer, so that we have secure payment transactions. So the seller can be sure that whenever he has sent out the product, the payment in return is ensured, and the consumer can be sure that he will receive what he has ordered in exchange of the money he has paid for that. And what else have we done? We have launched additional services in the field of security. For example, this travel insurance this travel cancellation insurance that we have launched some years ago. That means that whenever you have paid for a trip with PayPal, then the travel cancellation insurance is part of the money you've paid. You just have to log in, you have to activate this functionality once, and then you are part of this cost-free travel cancellation policy. It is not as comprehensive as a normal insurance package, but in case of not being able to go on the planned trip, you have at least a reimbursement up to 300 euros. And then, of course, there is another very important aspect, that is convenience. What have we done here? Well, this has happened on a global level. That is that we have developed a one-touch functionality and launched it in the market. It is one of the most successful products that we have launched on a global level for PayPal. One touch means that during the payment transaction, the purchaser is asked whether he wants to log in with a password or if he wants to save the password so that during the next purchasing he can do it without having to enter the password. So then this shortens the purchasing procedure, and this is better for completing the purchasing transaction. And you can log in with your password. This will be done for the next 6 months, and then with this one-touch functionality for the next 6 months, you do not have to enter your password again. This is applicable to the smartphone and to the tablet and to the web browser alike. This in Germany is a little bit difficult because we are very keen on security, and despite the fact that this product has been the most successful one for PayPal, Germany is lagging behind a little bit with regard to this activation process, because being able to pay without a security demand is something that is not really imaginable in Germany. And the next aspect, and that is quite decisive for the market, is that we have to provide additional services. Again, it is about influencing the customer so that the customer is carrying out a lot of purchasing transactions. Purchasing behavior is heavily influenced by the return process. High cost in case of return very often leads to a negative purchasing decision. That is, that the consumer will go elsewhere. And what have we done in order to counteract the situation? We said, well, dear consumer, if you activate this service and you buy something, then in the case of a return, we reimburse the return cost in the case that you pay with PayPal. We have launched this service in some countries, and that was very well accepted. And 1 year ago, we launched this service in Germany, and I was very proud of being able to present this service. It is something positive for the dealer. You do not have to pay for the return. You do not run the risk that customers will go away. And I was really very proud of this product in the market, because it is a benefit product for the dealers. But then people reacted in a very desperate way. They said, well, this is crazy. You are increasing the return rate. The Germans are already the champions in the field of returning their goods. And this is why we started at a very late point of time with this return service. But it is still in the market because we have found out that the return rate hasn't changed that much. You have this security mind in Germany. The Germans think that when they send back the goods, they will have their money back in exchange. This is still true. So if you, the dealers, you would like to use this service, then you should now take your smartphone and you should take a snapshot of this chart with the relevant banners and the links that you need. And you can also use this chart for your marketing purposes. This is very easy, very convenient for the dealers. You have to activate this service once, and then for the consumers, it is easy. They can click on this transaction, they can upload the necessary documents, and the reimbursement of the payment will take place within 24 hours. Well, this is what I wanted to tell you about checkout and additional services. Some time ago, and you might see that where all the posters are, we started working and promoting in the field of private payment. Why are we doing that? Well, we want to see to it that our consumers pay more, that they carry out more transactions, and that PayPal becomes part of their daily life. Well, we have these monetary functionalities at PayPal already, and last year we introduced something new. Payments between private persons, between friends, between family members, and that is for free. Sending money from one family member to another, from one friend to another, is simple to do and doesn't cost anything. You can see that here. You just click on this button saying, I want to send money to. You choose from your directory your contact address. You can enter the email address. You choose the amount. You can also enter a message, and then the money is directly transferred to the PayPal account of the other party. And as it is that simple, and as it is very well accepted by our customers, we have even simplified this process. PayPal Me is a further development of this payment functionality. We have established a possibility to ask for money without having to log into the PayPal account. I can establish a link, the PayPal Me link, and I can ask for money, and I can send money. And I can do this as a private person or as a dealer. I can choose whether I want to have a secure transaction to be carried out because I have sold something at eBay announcements, or if it is a private transaction which is then cost-free. And you can activate that very easily. You establish this PayPal Me link, and you can use every possible channel, WhatsApp, or you can put it on an invoice in case that you are a dealer. You can establish this PayPal Me link, and for the payment transaction it is very easy. And then we have gone one step further, and now we are also providing a money pool. And we have invented this term, we have stuck to it, and now it is possible to establish a money pool whenever you want to collect money for a joint gift, for a birthday, or you want to distribute costs for a trip or for a visit to the theater or whatever. This is something that we have also made available on your PayPal account. And this leads me to the conclusion of my speech. What do we do in order to push transactions? We have the purchaser protection, we have the travel cancellation insurance, we have cost-free returns, we have this one-touch functionality, we have developed additional services also around the area of P2P, that is sending money from A to B. And thus we have provided a lot of services enabling consumers to integrate PayPal much more in their daily life. Well, There is no further breakout session concerning PayPal, so if you have any further questions, you can ask them now, or later on we can discuss it at our booth.
There's a question over there. We can organize a mic, a roving mic.
Danke. So.
Right. Should work right now. Just hold it yourself if you like. Okay. Just a question. If you transfer money within Germany from friend to friend, a non-secured transaction, why does PayPal look into what happened in the past, US sanctions? Sorry, could you speak up a bit? Sorry, non-secure transactions. If you have a money transfer between friends in Germany, and if you use a reference Havana, the account was blocked. Why does that happen? Well, that's something we've been really unhappy about, but we can't do anything. PayPal is an American company, and we're subject to American sanction activities, which includes Cuba. As a payment provider, any transaction that could be related to Cuba has to be stopped by us. Unfortunately, we also need to restrict accounts. It happened to me. My account has been imposed a restriction on as well. It's not very nice as a process, and it's not easy to solve. But we also had to pay high fines because some transactions were too lax and too laxly observed by our filters. So we don't want to stop any transactions. It's the government of America that is so tough on stopping anything that's related to Cuba. I can't even pay Havana Club with PayPal. But this is something that's not in our hands. Any more questions? Well, I have a last one. Oh, sorry, there's a request for the floor. A show of hands. Are there any cues except for Havana and Cuba for filters? Well, the filters are quite good now, but Cuba, even when it came to scuba diving in the past, an alert was triggered. By now, the systems have become a bit more intelligent. Right, I'd like to ask a question, please. Well, it is so that safety, security, and trust is what you have to provide as a payment provider, what you have to convey, stand for. But these are not the greatest drivers of new developments, of innovation. But I think you've got something cool coming up. Tell us about it. Well, when it comes to innovation, we used to experiment very much in the past. We dealt with QR shopping very early. We took the city center of a small town in eastern Frisia with QR codes and fitted it with them. These experiments were not so successful, so we really focus on innovation topics, in this region at least. It might be different in the US HQ, but what we're doing here in Germany is very focused, very reduced in a manner of speaking. But what we launched now is a very interesting application. There's Shell, the petrol station operators with whom we've joined forces. So if you download a Shell app, you can actually use your PayPal account, and you can fill up your petrol, your gas at any station, and if it's a Shell one, and use your app. So you choose the pump via your app, and you don't have to go into the kiosk and pay in there. Well, without the manager running after you afterwards. Well, there's a nice video where this happens, but it works quite well, surprisingly well. Even the briefing for the managers of filling stations has worked out very well and contributed. Another question. Yes, we've got time. Enough of it. Thank you. Hello. I have a question. You also accept credit cards for non-PayPal clients in shops so they can pay as well. It's the same thing planned for cryptocurrencies. It's a very difficult thing for Shopware users. There are some people who only want to live like that with cryptocurrency, crypto money. It's quite interesting. Well, I've never heard of it in Germany, really. I wouldn't know of any company that would like to introduce any cryptocurrency. I know we did an acquisition. You might know Braintree. It's a credit card processor in the US, and I believe they experiment with cryptocurrencies because as Braintree is not so widely spread in Germany, and particularly not their innovation topics, I can't give you an answer, but all I can say is that in Germany we don't want to activate cryptocurrency. That was it then. All right. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And now it's time for a lunch break. You have a break of about 1 hour, and then we'll continue.